Every iPhone, every NVIDIA AI chip, every breakthrough processor powering today's artificial intelligence begins its journey in factories most people have never heard of. It's a journey that takes thousands of steps, months to complete, and unfolds with engineering precision bordering on science fiction. This is the story of how one company on a single island became the indispensable manufacturer behind the modern world, and why governments, tech giants, and entire economies now depend on its continued operation. But how did a single company in Taiwan quietly amass such unprecedented power? And why are nations now investing hundreds of billions to build their own versions of this factory even if they can never truly replicate it? The story begins in the aftermath of World War II. In 1947, Bell Labs in the United States invented the transistor, a tiny switch that could amplify and control electronic signals. This invention marked the true dawn of the semiconductor age. A decade later, in the late 1950s, Jack Kilby and Robert Noyce independently invented the integrated circuit, which packed multiple transistors onto a single silicon chip. This was the spark that ignited what we now call Silicon Valley. Companies like Texas Instruments and the nascent Intel pioneered this new industry. It was into this world that Morris Chang stepped, a young engineer who would spend 25 years at Texas Instruments, rising through its ranks, becoming a senior executive. He lived and breathed semiconductors, watching the industry evolve from its infancy. But a fundamental challenge always remained: how to turn groundbreaking designs into physical reality at scale. After his long tenure at Texas Instruments, Morris Chang found himself at a crossroads, having not achieved the CEO position he once aspired to. But then, an unexpected call came from halfway across the world. The government of Taiwan, ambitious to strengthen its industrial base, recruited Chang in 1985 with a bold mandate: build a semiconductor industry for the island. Chang, then 55, accepted, bringing with him decades of experience and a radical idea. The prevailing model in the semiconductor world was integrated device manufacturers, or IDMs. Companies like Intel designed and manufactured their own chips. They owned the entire process. This meant that any company wanting to design a chip had two options: build their own astronomically expensive factories, or rely on an IDM that might also be their competitor. It was a bottleneck, a choke point that stifled innovation and made entry into the market incredibly difficult. Morris Chang saw this not as an immutable law, but as a colossal inefficiency. He envisioned a new way, a company that would design nothing but manufacture chips for everyone. A pure-play foundry, dedicated solely to fabrication without ever competing with its customers. This was the founding principle of Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC, established in 1987. It was an audacious bet, asking other companies to trust their most valuable intellectual property to a third party, a startup on a small island. But the alternative was daunting. A modern advanced fabrication plant, even back then, required massive investment, and today they commonly cost upwards of $20 to $30 billion to construct. TSMC offered a path for ambitious chip designers to bring their visions to life, without the impossible burden of building and operating their own multi-billion-dollar factories. The pure-play foundry model unlocked an explosion of innovation. Suddenly, Fabless companies could emerge, firms that specialized solely in chip design, leaving the complex, capital-intensive manufacturing to TSMC. Companies like Qualcomm and later NVIDIA were born into this new paradigm, free to push the boundaries of design without the factory floor overhead. As smartphones exploded onto the scene in the 2000s, semiconductor demand skyrocketed, and TSMC began pouring billions into increasingly advanced fabrication processes. Their relentless focus on manufacturing excellence paid off. By 2010, TSMC was in discussions with a then-surging technology giant, Apple. Apple was looking to move beyond off-the-shelf components for its iPhone and design its own custom silicon. It was a massive opportunity for TSMC, but also a fierce competition. Intel, the incumbent giant, also sought Apple's business, proposing to manufacture future iPhone chips. The stakes were immense, a generational contract that would shape the future of both companies. According to Morris Chang, Apple CEO Tim Cook ultimately chose TSMC because Intel, for all its might, simply did not know how to be a foundry. Intel's DNA was built on designing and manufacturing its own chips, not solely serving another's vision. By 2013-2014, TSMC had committed enormous capital, building dedicated production capacity for Apple. This partnership transformed both companies, cementing TSMC's lead in advanced manufacturing and powering Apple's meteoric rise with custom silicon. Then came the unseen force that would push TSMC's capabilities to their absolute limit and change the global technological landscape forever. Artificial intelligence. While TSMC was already the dominant player in leading-edge chips, manufacturing the overwhelming majority of advanced logic silicon, roughly 90% or more of chips smaller than 10 nanometers. The AI boom wasn't just about smaller transistors. It was about connecting those transistors and hundreds of thousands of others in increasingly complex ways. This required advanced packaging technologies, methods for stacking and linking multiple chips together in a single, high-performance module. TSMC's CoWoS, chip-on-wafer-on-substrate packaging, became the gold standard, a critical bottleneck. NVIDIA, AMD, Broadcom, Google, Microsoft, every major player in the AI race suddenly needed this specialized packaging, and only TSMC could deliver it at the required scale and sophistication. The company that designed nothing became the indispensable linchpin for the most transformative technology of our time. Manufacturing a modern advanced chip is an act of engineering wizardry. It requires thousands of process steps, takes months to complete, and involves hundreds of meticulous engineering checks. Each step must be executed flawlessly within facilities cleaner than hospital operating rooms. At the heart of this process are the machines from ASML, a Dutch company, which produces extreme ultraviolet, EUV lithography systems. These are not merely machines. They are 180-ton, multi-story technological marvels that use precisely controlled light to etch patterns onto silicon wafers, creating features just a few atoms wide. Without ASML's EUV, TSMC could not make the world's most advanced chips. Without TSMC, ASML would have no primary customer for its multi-hundred-million-dollar behemoths. It's a symbiotic relationship, perhaps one of the most important industrial partnerships in modern history. The concentration of this technology, this entire ecosystem, in Taiwan, has created a strategic vulnerability that governments across the globe are now desperate to address. The United States, recognizing this critical dependence, passed the CHIPS and Science Act in 2022, a multi-billion-dollar effort to encourage domestic semiconductor manufacturing. Japan and European nations have similar initiatives. The goal: to reduce reliance on Taiwan, to bring this essential capability closer to home, yet replicating decades of integrated expertise, of a culture obsessed with manufacturing perfection, and of the unique partnership with ASML, is proving to be a challenge on an unprecedented scale. Even with hundreds of billions of dollars, the question remains: can the world truly decouple from the factory that controls its technological destiny? Today, TSMC is not just a company. It's a geopolitical asset. Its factories are the beating heart of the global technology supply chain, enabling everything from the latest smartphones to the most powerful AI supercomputers. The company continues to expand at an unprecedented rate, driven by insatiable demand. Its revenue continues to climb. Its technology nodes continue to shrink, pushing the boundaries of physics. The world's leading chip designers, Apple, NVIDIA, AMD, Qualcomm, all rely on TSMC's unparalleled manufacturing prowess. Advanced packaging constraints remain a strategic bottleneck for the AI industry, pushing TSMC to innovate further. While governments scramble to build their own fabs, the scale and complexity required to compete with TSMC's leading edge still means that for the foreseeable future, the world's most advanced chips will continue to originate from those immaculate factories on the island of Taiwan. The story of TSMC is a powerful lesson in focus, specialization, and the unexpected importance of infrastructure. Morris Chang, starting a new company at an age when many contemplate retirement, saw a fundamental unmet need in the market. By choosing not to compete with his customers, but to empower them, he created an entirely new business model that transformed an entire industry. It shows us that sometimes true innovation isn't about inventing a new product, but about perfecting a process, building the essential foundation upon which countless other innovations can flourish. TSMC proved that the quiet, unsung work of manufacturing can become the most strategically vital function in the global economy, making an invisible company profoundly indispensable. What other hidden industries do you think hold this much power over our modern world? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to dive deeper into the forces shaping our technological future, consider subscribing.